looking arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting the fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us, and y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. At every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my...
The type of guy that would ride with the breeze. I'm higher than most people. I'm cold and icicle freeze. I'm liking to Mike Tyson. I'm a bison, a beast. I'm high like Jamaica, like right by the beach. My pops is from a spot where they're fighting for peace. 8 years old out there watching people fight in the streets. All these sirens only make the violence increase. Yeah, we're still not loving police. It's that bright young American, nice, dumb, arrogant. Tight on a mic, but he might need a therapist. Heart full of kerosene, head full of fairy tales. Said that you're my homie, you don't know me, but I know you very well. Roll back on some West Coast shit. This whole track is wetter than your dress code kiss. About to hit the track, running on some retro fit. It gets so lit, I guess so, bitch, now let's go.
I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will...
Every time. It gets me going. Every time. It's
hyped.
Tuesday. Hanging with the boys.
Tuesday. Well,
The sports nonsense and whiskey, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're ready for a little roller coaster of a
Yes.
ride. Robert,
been a-
my guy, how you doing? Cheers.
it's cheers, man. It's been a week. This is the only
It
thing
has.
I'm happy about. This is it. And they're 3-0, and that's the only thing I can relish for like maybe 2 more weeks, and then it's done. But I'm happy about it. So Michigan State, way to be 3-0. But you're the only thing that's making me happy here for most of this weekend.
I like it. I
A couple
like
other
it.
things sprinkled in, but that's the main win here. I'll take
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I'm not wearing my gear tonight.
I'm
just-
surprised you're not wearing Nebraska because I was like, hey, I was trying to rival you, man. I was like, I'm gonna bring it, but I mean, I get it. I see how it is.
I poked the bear pretty good last week, and I decided I was gonna I know the NFL talk is gonna poke him regardless of if I'm trying to or not. So I was trying to minimize the amount of poking that the bear was going to receive this evening. For those that aren't aware, the bear being Pinky, and Pinky is
Who will be
not with
joining
us.
later.
Not with us currently because he's got some internet issues. The gift and
Technical
curse.
difficulties.
Yeah, gift and curse of technology, the fun and the bad and the ugly. So once he gets that figured out, he'll jump back on. So we will anxiously await the return of the legend that is.
Oh, he might be returning. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. There could be incoming, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, I mean,
guess-
look, Nebraska had a good weekend again. There's people already talking about them now as a potential dark horse playoff contender simply because of how they played in their schedule. So, Joel Klatt talked about it as a possibility way back in the offseason. I did my little college deep dive and unfortunately came back and landed on my Huskers as my dark horse for the playoffs, which I didn't like doing because I still think they're a year or two away from being, truly competitive. But I do love everything Matt Rule's doing. I've sent the guys some videos here and there, not to rub in Nebraska or anything. It just seems like this guy gets it, at least at the college level. God only knows what happened at Carolina. By all accounts, you'd be a fool to say it wasn't all David Tepper's fault, and he actually did Matt Rule a favor by letting him out of his contract. But he didn't do well in the NFL. He did. He had a track record in college that was really good. Seems to be doing it in Nebraska. So, look, my weekend was made when they won. And regardless of what happened the rest of the weekend, I was in good spirits. So I totally understand where you're coming from with the Michigan State thing, Robert. Pinky should be a little happier when it comes to his college team. I mean, their
Hurricanes
quarterback
did great.
Cam Ward's playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, he is.
Dude's looking like a Heisman frontrunner at this point in time. Does that translate to the NFL? I'm still a little unsure on his leap to the next level. I like that he's balling out in Miami, especially when you see the other Florida teams playing awful and Miami's playing well. So that's good to see. I like seeing Cam Ward playing well. You know, college football does better when the U is doing well, I feel like. That's just kind of the nature of college football. It's no different than I think college football does better when Nebraska is doing well, along with Alabama and Ohio State and Michigan. I think when you have those, for lack of a better way of saying it, those true blue bloods of the college football doing well, it makes the game overall better. And to Pinky's argument of why he hasn't always been the biggest fan of college football, welcome, good sir. Nice to see you. It's that competitiveness. And the more that talent gets spread out and the more those blue bloods are all good at the same time, the more truly competitive the game at that college level will be. And I think everybody benefits from that. So hopefully Pinky's right and NIL does level the playing field. I think that is the case. I've been saying that for years. Time will tell. But there is some fun stuff going on in the college game right now. I know we've got a lot of NFL to talk, so we'll discuss college in another week or two. We'll let it kind of get going. Kind of let the first couple – I mean, you talk about the first 4 to 5 weeks of college football, majority of the big names are playing one or two Sisters of the Poor, and FBS and FCS. Like,
ain't that the truth?
Yeah, the first 4 to 5 weeks can be hit or miss. So we'll kind of let those first 4 or 5, we'll kind of see how it goes after this weekend and then probably decide when we're going to start jumping into it again and talking about it weekly going forward. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these games aren't necessarily anything to discuss, and you can't really tell who's good or bad yet because of who's playing who. So we'll see, though. But it looks like
What? Go ahead.
I was letting Caleb finish. He had a point.
I was going to say, I think we're in for a very interesting college football season. I think Arch Manning could possibly be seeing some more playing time. Ewers getting hurt does not do his job any favors, especially with the way Arch played. So Texas rolling, Georgia still is Georgia. Miami, like I talked about, Ole Miss is balling this year with Lane Kiffin and what he's got going down there with Jackson Dart as the quarterback. Oregon and Dylan Gabriel are only going to get more comfortable with themselves. Ohio State.
All I know is Florida State sucks.
Which, October 26th, Nebraska, Ohio State. That's going to be a great game.
I don't know if I want to say great game yet.
Maybe not for you, but for Ohio State.
We've, in the past, in the last 5 or 6 years even, Nebraska's defense has put them in position to beat Ohio State a couple times. It's the offense and the turnovers that cost them the games. This week, this Friday, will say a lot about where Nebraska's at. Friday night, they play Illinois. Illinois is ranked 24th. Nebraska's 22nd, I believe, in the latest poll. That'll say a lot about where Nebraska is, and then we can go from there.
Fair enough. Understood. Can respect that. Goodbye, Pinky. We'll see you in another lifetime.
At some point, maybe he will return.
Well, before we
so
get
we had
to...
good weekends because of our college teams, and that kind of carried over for everything.
Yes.
I will mention briefly, and if Pinky wants to bring this up later because he wants to talk about it, it's fine. I doubt he will, though, because none of the fights were good. But we did get an opportunity to go out, watch the fights together on Saturday.
And I'm sorry, who called that match at the end?
I was going to give you your due if you just let it simmer for a minute. Easy there, Tiger. None of the fights were good. I mean, just being perfectly honest, all of them went the distance once you got to the main card, and going the distance didn't result in anything spectacular at any moment in time from any of the fights where you're like, oh, this could be so. Nah, there was some punching, there was some grappling, there was some try to do submissions, there was some try to do takedowns. It was a lame night of fight.
The best fight by far was the women's prelim fight before the main card.
Yeah, where the chick got her entire face split off her skull.
Ooh, dude.
I don't understand. I still don't understand how that fight didn't get stopped.
They let her go. It was like another 2 minutes, man. It was,
dude. The after pictures of the doctor when she's out, you can literally see her skull. Like, he's got it open and you can see her entire skull. Like, it's wild. So yeah, that might have been the best fight. But again,
that was the best fight.
I'm talking about once the main card started, nothing was worth watching. If you bought it, I'm sorry. Now, all day, Robert had been talking about how he thought Sugar O'Malley looked nervous at the presser, at the weigh-in. Said, he told me, I'm a big Sugar guy. Love me some Sugar. And Robert kept telling me, he looks nervous. He looks nervous. I was like, nah, we're good. Nah, we're good. He's fine. Well, turns out Robert was right. Not for the reasons I think he thought he was nervous, but nonetheless, he was nervous.
Was not there.
Nervous because he had a torn labrum in his hip that is getting surgery on in 2 weeks, which explains the entire fight. Because O'Malley looked like he was trying not to throw punches, trying not to throw kicks, and was just waiting to be taken down and lay on the ground with somebody on top of him. Like, it looked like the worst possible game plan you could ever put together unless you were literally trying to throw the fight. Well, anybody that knows about a torn labrum in the hip, it's like your muscle getting pulled off the bone and stuff. It's not fun. And it severely hinders and limits your mobility and ability to explode. So O'Malley got his ass kicked, but now you find out why, and it all makes a whole lot of sense. I think healthy, that fight does not go that way.
No.
But
I'll be interested to see how this plays out.
We will have to wait and see what a rematch. I mean, O'Malley said he's out probably at least 6 months.
I think
if not more,
9 to a year.
Yeah, so it's going to be a long time before he's back in the octagon. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm surprised he didn't pull out. I mean, if he did that in training,
he still got a $3 million purse, even though he lost.
I mean, I get it, and maybe that's why. Maybe Dana knew, and he talked to Dana and told him, and he said, "I'm still going to try to go. Are you good with that?" You know, like, who knows? There'll probably be more that comes out, but it will be interesting to see what that rematch looks like, if there even is one. I mean, Merab's got to hold on to the title for that to happen. If he does, okay, then as soon as O'Malley's healthy, he should be given an instant shot at the title. There's zero reason why he should have to go fight anybody else before he gets a title shot. But, you know, Champ can kind of make some calls and see what happens and see what Dana does, and we'll go from there. So, overall, lame night of fights.
6 out of 10, for sure.
I'd give it closer to a 4.
All right.
You don't see one finish, it's hard to go over 5.
No.
I mean, the Shevchenko fight wasn't too bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
I mean, she wrestled her pretty good.
So.
Yeah,
the prelim fight where the girl ends up with gashing her
we did
forehead.
discuss that, but I was talking specifically once the main card started. It wasn't a good. As far as the main card goes, it was lame. So we'll see what happens. Pinky, is there anything you wanted to throw in about the fights? I don't know if you wanted to talk about them or not. But...
I mean, we got you out. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was unexpected and awesome.
We liked that, and that was fun, and it was good to have everybody out, friends and family and fights. It was a good time. Yeah, I mean, I thought there were a couple fights that were entertaining, but when they all go to a decision, you know, at least all of them were like there wasn't anyone that we were like, no, that guy didn't win. Like, you know, there
were
wasn't any
clear
of that,
winners.
right?
Yeah.
So I do enjoy it when it is kind of, at least we got it right. But you know, Sugar, man, what a tough position. You guys might be already talked about. Like,
No, please give us your thoughts
Yeah,
on it.
no,
We
go
did,
ahead,
but
please
what
do.
are you thinking? Because I know you don't even like Sugar, but I also know how you feel about fighters fighting injured and things of that nature. So you got to be a little torn right now.
I'm really torn. He fought, which again, I'll give him credit for that, because he did go through it with a torn labrum in the hip. I have some hip pain from a bursa sac that flares up every once in a while that like makes me feel like it's unbearable sometimes. So I can only imagine like actually circling and trying to get up off the ground when someone's holding you down. Like that would, I mean, he probably got a pretty good shot beforehand, but that's still
I was
painful.
going to ask if you, I'm glad you were able to get back on while we're still talking about this because I have no idea. Are they allowed to get shots and stuff like in the NFL? Wouldn't that be I mean, that seems like it'd be a performance enhancer in a fight.
No, those are,
you can't feel?
they can use a lot of the pain meds.
Like the Toradol and everything?
Yeah, they can use that.
Before a fight, you sure?
We'd have to look it up. I can't say 100% confident about the rules.
Okay.
Spicy Icy might be able to Google that for us and let
anybody
us know.
listening out there knows, please chime in. It is something I was curious about. Because like the NFL, like you can do that all day, man. You
I feel like if he had
a damn thing and hit people left and right and nobody cares.
If he had a torn labrum, I feel like we would have seen him grimace in pain more.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm wondering. Because if he wasn't, the dude's even more of a badass than I thought he was. Because my brother, the reason I know so much about it is my brother had something very similar to it. And he couldn't run. He had no get up anymore. He couldn't push off. He couldn't, like you said, twisting and moving like that. Like, he could just walk around and sit and stuff fine. And it was just kind of an annoyance. But if he tried to actually do anything physically, like, strenuous, done. He ended up having his was able to heal. He was lucky. He didn't have to have surgery on his. But he was only like 14 or 15 when it happened. So it's super
he wasn't a grown man.
Yeah, it shouldn't have happened to him. Like, so they said it should just heal. We'll wait and see. And luckily his body healed it, so he didn't need surgery. But dude, I can't imagine fighting with that.
And fighting a guy like Merab with his wrestling skills, he probably shouldn't have fought. No,
well, and on top of that, like, how frustrated do you know he is inside, knowing he can't do anything about the mocking and stuff that Merab was doing, like kissing him on the back and walking away and turning his back to him before the round was even done. And
Sugar earned that with all of his shit talking.
I'm not saying he didn't earn it. I'm just saying, how frustrated would you be inside knowing you can't do anything about it? And that's the look on his face. When you look back now, knowing what we know now, and you look at his face, it's pure like frustration and like almost humiliation at the same time of, I'm doing everything I can and I'm straight getting my ass beat and nobody knows why. And I'm not going to make excuses. I'm in the fight, which I totally respect. He didn't come out beforehand and say, this is my thing, but I'm going to fight anyways, right? He went out there, he let everybody go at him for the next 24 hours. And then it came out what was really going on. So you got to respect him for that a little bit, right? I mean, yeah. He's been pretty humble the way he's handled it after the fight and the loss.
Anytime a fighter goes out there and fights with injury, I'm going to say, hey, at least you went out there. You didn't cancel. I'm pretty confident Dana knew about it if this happened. And Dana was like, they had so many issues getting fights for this one.
Oh yeah.
That I don't think Dana could have handled Sugar pulling out.
I think Dana, he did the company a favor, and Dana won't forget that. Dana doesn't forget that kind of stuff.
Oh no, Dana shows loyalty to his guys. So, and Sugar does bring in the money. So,
And I mean, he took a loss. He took his first L for this.
If I'm a Rob, I would probably not give him a rematch right away. But if he did one solid for the company, I could see the company saying, "No, man, you're healthy. Let's go. Let's run it back."
Yeah.
So, Robert, what'd you find?
So they have an official painkiller. You can use like over the counter stuff like Tylenol and things, but like no narcotics or anything like that. So it's just pretty straightforward stuff, but nothing like.
Yeah, that's what I thought before the fight. Yeah, because like, dude, you get a Toradol shot, and you don't feel anything, and you could go out there and just basically cocaine bear people. Like that wouldn't be fair. I mean,
entirely.
They're not going to let LT come into the ring, right? Like, there's a reason Bones got suspended for the cocaine, for the nose powder, for the fluffy white.
I'd be surprised if he didn't have something. It's just like a torn labrum.
Painful, man.
It's painful. It's painful. And he didn't grimace at all. That's where I just feel like he didn't have full range of motion, but he was shot up with something because
maybe
if you have an injury like that, circling the ring,
some people just handle pain really well too. You know,
no, you see it, man.
I would agree with you. I would tend to believe you would at some point been like, oh, he's hurt, but we never thought that. We just thought he was being like, I don't give a shit.
He was being a little timid. He was, kind of controlled.
But now it makes sense why he wasn't his normal O'Malley, attacking, destroying with a lot of punches, coming at people. Like, you didn't see any of that. Now you know why. Because there was no way he was going to be able to. So, it's a bummer. It's a bummer for sure. But, we got Jones and Stipe announced for November.
Oh, man. The next one is awesome.
What's the next one?
Pereira, Roundtree, Raquel Pennington, Juliana Pena, Aljamain Sterling, Evolov, who's
Kevin Holland is on that card. Jose Aldo is on that card. Stephen Thompson, Wonderboy Thompson is on that card. That's a card, man. Yeah, so that's Saturday, October 5th.
And I like Lake in Utah.
Pereira normally knocks dudes out, so I kind of like watching Pereira fights. Wait,
Pereira's on that card?
He's the headliner, yeah.
On the October 5th card?
Yeah.
He just fought. Who the hell is he fighting now?
Again.
He's fighting Khalil Roundtree.
Yeah.
Who
light
I don't.
Heavy?
Light heavy, yes.
Yeah, it's for the belt, yeah.
Might have to come watch that one.
Yeah, come out, Caleb. Be social.
Get a babysitter and bring the wife.
Yeah,
I love Pereira. I mean, you know how I love me some Pereira. That dude's the man to watch right now in the UFC.
I like him capitalizing on his current status of being probably the pound for pound best fighter, and he is making the most of it. He's a little behind because he's a little bit older.
He's 37 now, right?
Yeah, so he's only got.
That's even more reason to like him. The dude's 37, and he's not going into the ring to like Daniel Cormier people. He's going into the ring to fucking. He's going back to old school Chuck Liddell, Iceman. Like, I'm going to come at you, and I'm going to beat the shit out of you, and that's how we're going to do this. And it's so fun to watch.
Pereira's striking is, and this is based on his kickboxing, is top notch. So, and at this moment, we don't have a light heavy or even a heavyweight if he goes up, or I don't know if we have too many middleweights that would be able to take him down and wrestle with him. So,
dude, I mean, honestly, at this moment in time, I don't know if Jones could take him.
Well, there's a thought about that fight, but I don't know if we'll see that. I know
we're not going to see it. Jones isn't going to let it happen.
Dana said right Stipe's already told him, like, this is his last fight. And so,
which isn't surprising at Stipe's last fight, but like, again, I don't think Jones wants that Pereira smoke. I don't.
Jones
And-
doesn't want to lose.
Look, here's the deal. Jones is talking about how he had to take basically 2 years off to get up to heavyweight naturally and sit at that the way he wanted to comfortably. Pereira does that in 5 hours after weigh-ins. Like, that dude walks around at 245 naturally. He is a huge human being. And the more I realize that, it's not a surprise that he didn't fully dominate at middleweight because the dude's trying to drop like 80 pounds to get down to that. That's absurd.
He lost one fight at middleweight.
I know, but still, you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's an insane weight cut. Just going down to 205 is crazy.
And he just
middleweight's 185.
And he just happened to get caught because Adesanya got rocked.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, Adesanya got it. So, but yeah, so that one's good. And then the Jones Stipe one, that card's good. It's got Michael Chandler on it too, against Oliveira. So I'm like already stoked. I'm trying to think of when that November one is.
I want to know when they're going to let Bo Nickel. It's Bo Nickel, right?
Yeah.
I want to know when he's going to get a real fight. I want to see what that dude can really do. And I think he does too. Because his last couple of fights, his last one, he shrugged at the crowd and basically said, sorry. Like, I'm sorry this wasn't a match for me. I'm sorry. My bad. So I want to see what that dude can do.
Bo Nickel has moved up. He's on that Stipe card. He's the third fight of the night.
Ooh.
He's been doing fifth. He moved up to third. He's fighting Paul Craig.
At what?
Middleweight.
Oh, when you say moved up, you mean from like the bottom kind of slot to higher up in the card?
Yeah, he's been the opening fight in about 3 or 4 of these.
Yeah, I thought you meant moved up in like weight class. I was like, oh, whoa, hey, hang on a second.
So
I'm interested to see what he can do. And then Patty, I think Patty's about ready. I think they're about ready to start giving him some fights. And it'll be interesting to see what Patty can do in some real fights if he can truly challenge for that championship. I like Patty. So there's between those 3 guys, I've got some interest. 2 of them I feel like they're kind of blowing the marketing on, and the other one is fighting every 3 months, apparently. Jesus.
Pereira's
that's unheard of. That's
healthy.
absurd.
I'm healthy. Let's fight. Let's go.
God,
he didn't. The last fight didn't last long with.
I know.
Yuri.
I know. I'm just saying it's still crazy.
What that tells me is he is always in good shape. He doesn't need a crazy fight camp to get ready for a fight.
No, it also tells me he's a real fighter. He's not some done who's just like in the game to learn it and make money. This dude is like a purebred. Like, if this dude was back in the day, like this dude would be tribal chief. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody would be fucking testing that.
That's a good way to put it. He would
He's
be tribal
just good
chief.
to go at all times.
I like that. I like that a lot, Caleb. He would be tribal chief. So, unfortunately, I'm kind of sad. I think that UFC Pereira fight is at the same time as WWE Bad Blood. So I'll just have to watch the Bad Blood replay in that case. I think they're on at the same time.
I thought Bad Blood was next weekend.
Let me check. Thank you, Google.
Yeah. It's amazing what we can do these days.
Saturday, October 5th.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
Same day. So it's not like I have a giant 43-inch monitor that is Google right here with like.
And it starts. Well, technically we could double up because it starts at 4 p.m., 5 p.m.
So it'd be over about 8.
Yeah. So it'd be over about the time the UFC
main
fights come on.
card gets kicked. Yeah.
But CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, Hell in a Cell. Let's go. Let's finish it. They got to finish it. They got to finish it.
Yeah, that should be the end.
This is getting a little old.
I mean,
it's been fun. It's been fun.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Let's see. I missed out on college football.
We didn't talk any nonsense, so we can always go back to that.
At least Florida State sucks. At least I got that. That makes me feel good.
Cheers.
Makes me feel
my
bad
guy.
for my buddy.
Cheers.
Makes me feel bad for my buddy. He's a big Florida State fan. But
poor guy.
F him. So because they would like it if Miami was 0-3. So
I ain't got no love lost for Florida State.
I'm gonna enjoy it. I was jumping in and out when you were talking about Nebraska. I don't have anything bad about Nebraska right now. They are playing good football. Again, we just had that conversation about the possibility that Rule, if he had options at some of the bigger schools, it could be a thing. Not that it will, but it could be, right? So,
I mean, just to touch on it real quick, I did send you that video where he was talking about how you don't come to a place like Nebraska unless you play in the state.
Look, man. Coaches have said a lot of shit through the years. I
don't disagree.
I'm not counting on any of that, man.
Dang.
I don't disagree. I don't know how to say this without being a homer. Okay, so just take it.
You're a homer. It's fine. It is what it is.
But I'm trying to say this objectively, just as a college football fan, because we were talking, I think you were there for some of it, talking about how college football is just better when the blue bloods of college football are all good. The game's just better for it. And it's wild to me that people believe a place like Tuscaloosa, Alabama is a place where kids want to go and Lincoln, Nebraska isn't. There's some kind of difference. When, as long as everything you get within the program is the same and you're winning, you're at a place where football means more than anything. That fan base is regularly voted the number one fan base in the country. That stadium is known as one of the best places to play in the country. The facilities are at the very top. So it's wild to me to think people think Nebraska can't get back. And I guess that's where I just think, you don't talk about people leaving Alabama. You don't talk about people leaving Ohio State for other jobs, Miami, things of that nature. I just feel like, and again, trying to be objective as a college football fan, I feel like Nebraska is the exact same if you're winning. I just don't see it being any different than any other top-tier program. People forget they ran college football through the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
There's only 3-4 schools maybe that I feel like he would leave Nebraska for, and that's not many, right? And it's not money.
If you say Alabama, I'm gonna laugh because their last 4 quarterbacks that have been drafted have been turned out terrible. So just don't bother.
Jalen Hurts is fine.
Tua is really good.
Yeah, Tua is good when he's healthy. I don't. Which
Key
4
word
quarterbacks?
There, healthy.
Which 4 quarterbacks are you talking about?
Let me find. Bryce Young was one of them, wasn't he?
Well,
yes.
but I feel like
thank
if
you.
you want to go back,
so one's benched, one's got his third concussion.
Hold on, Robert.
We can't say Bryce Young is a bust yet, though. Again,
I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm just saying he's benched.
Robert, I don't know
look
any.
At their current.
I don't know any quarterback that would be able to go into the Panthers and help them win with as garbage as they are as an organization and an offensive scheme and the players around them. Andy Dalton's about to get the shit kicked out of him for 4 weeks until he's hurt enough that they have to put Bryce back in. So
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, we're not there yet, but that is a wrong statement, my friend. And I don't even like Alabama.
Well, Pinky, we'll end it here. I did say they play Illinois Friday night. Illinois is ranked 24th in the country right now. I think Nebraska's 22nd. It'll be a big game. It'll say a lot about, if they are truly headed in that dark horse playoff contention type thing, or if it's, we still got to kind of learn how to win games and there's still some mistakes. And, look, I think only Colorado fans thought Colorado had a chance in that game. And even last year, I said if Nebraska had a quarterback, Nebraska probably wins that game last year. Nebraska has also played University of Texas San Antonio and an FCS school. So while they've looked dominant, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like what they've done has shown that they've turned the corner. And I know a lot of people, Jake Butt, I think on the Big Ten Network, former Michigan tight end, Broncos draft pick, dude would have been one of the best tight ends in the league if he didn't have multiple ACL, MCL tears. I truly believe that. He was a crazy good talent. But he said Nebraska's back, and he's not the only one I've heard that from. And I'm like, even as a Nebraska fan, I'm still like, I understand what you're saying, and they have shown to be dominant, and Dylan Raiola looks like he's legit, and the defense and everything else, but like, I don't think we played anybody yet. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. And I think Friday night is the first true test. And let's see what happens Friday.
Truth.
All right. Well, I think we should talk some NFL here because there's some big things that happen.
What do you want to talk about, Robert?
Where are we starting, gentlemen? Let me sip on this a minute. And there's a lot. There's a lot to discuss.
May as well start with the first game of the week, Thursday night. So,
one thing first while you're pulling it up.
Okay.
Ohtani hit 48 today.
48, and he stole 48 yesterday, I think it was. He's 48-48 right now. I was going to mention that on my go up. Thanks, Pinky, for taking my final thought. Now I got to do something else.
I was about to say I got one saved for later too.
I pulled
so
up.
Glad that we got this.
I pulled Bleacher Report up, and that was like the first thing that's on here is Ohtani.
We're a week away from having to start talking about baseball.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And yes, people, I say have to because whether Pinky likes it or not, we are such huge sports fans in general, and I know he is. Whether he won't ever admit it with baseball or not. He will watch playoff baseball, and that's when we really – I love the game. We're not going to go into all the things and why baseball people hate me, but I love the game. We just don't watch it enough during the season to make a lot of comments. But we do catch up enough once the playoffs start to be able to discuss rosters and teams. We followed enough to know kind of who's on what team and kind of where they are to the point where when the playoffs start, we do a little homework real quick and we're good to talk playoffs. So we're about a week away from talking baseball. But yes. 48-48 right now for Ohtani. He is 2 stolen bases and 2 home runs from being the first ever member of the 50-50 club, all while rehabbing from Tommy John.
Crazy. Absolutely an animal.
Dude, like, what?
Animal.
I don't... Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it before. I will say it again. I'll say it every time we talk about Shohei Ohtani. In my personal opinion, you are watching the greatest talent to ever play baseball. Ever. Watch him when you get the opportunity to.
Yeah, I'm curious. I can't wait to see him.
And next year should only be better because he'll be hitting and pitching.
Gonna be nuts. Gonna be absolutely nuts.
I know there was a lot of crazy talent over the years with baseball. And the thing I love about baseball is no sport, I don't care what you are. In my opinion, no sport can compare to baseball's history and stats. They are above and beyond everything else.
Well, what, the first right-hand hitter ever in San Francisco finally hit into the Bay? And, like, that's an insane
First
stat.
right-handed batter ever finally hit it into McCovey Cove 2 days ago after 25 years. Like, that's wild. I would have never, if that was a trivia question, I would have guessed like 6 or 7. I would have never guessed it had been 0 until then. Yeah, so... Wow. And I love that about baseball. The history of the sport and everything that goes into it, good, bad, and indifferent. And then the stats. I mean, baseball has kept an insane amount of stats for 100+ years. And because of those stats that they kept, you can then give all the new analytic stats for old players. Because you had all their batting averages and on-base percentages and walks and strikeouts and all of that stuff that baseball kept. So you can compare a WAR from 1920 to a WAR from 2024. Legitimately compare.
Yep.
Because great. You know the actual numbers. Now, was the game different? The eras, the players, all of that? Yes, it's a different conversation. But the fact that all those numbers are there and you can look at them and see them and the history and feel it and touch it, I love that about baseball so much, especially being a big numbers and history guy. That only adds to it. But Shohei is about to do something that nobody has ever done.
Gonna be wild.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, catch it if you can. It's a once in a lifetime talent to watch, so enjoy it while you can. But going now back to NFL Thursday Night Football. First and foremost, Tua, dude, gotta slide, man. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
bad
decision.
And again, prayers to you, man. Hopefully things turn out good for you. I know you're not planning on retiring. I've suffered from concussions myself. I get it, but long-term stuff, man, it's not fun.
I'm sure
I've had two, and they're awful.
Yeah, I'm sure I've had some. The problem is having chronic severe migraines. I would have never really known the difference, but nothing diagnosed. What I've seen from Tua, the world's seen from Tua, the play that caused the concussion, I'd say 99% of the time is a normal football play that doesn't cause any injuries or any issues for any player. But because of his past, what would be a routine hit for anybody else caused him another repeat episode. And to me, that's the scariest thing. Not that he had another concussion. It's the way in which the concussion was had. It wasn't a brutal hit. It wasn't getting knocked on his back.
It wasn't DeMar Hamlin doing anything different. He was there as he should have been and made a good tackle.
So that's the scary thing. And he's on the IR now. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. We'll see how long that stays. He's seeing some specialists. I think it's funny when people say he's seeing specialists because unless he's using his own money, those specialists he's seeing are still on the NFL payroll, regardless if they say they're an independent specialist.
He went out and saw, like, they've got it on record. He went out and saw a lot of outside neurologists that have nothing to do with the NFL, and they've got his brain scans, and that's where there's a lot of data on Tua's brain.
Good,
and that's why he's on IR now, so that they can go out. He can go see these guys. They can take scans of his brain now compared to what it was last time 2 years ago, and try to kind of see like, hey, like, look, hey, this is going to get worse. At the end of the day, like you, I think we've talked about it before. Once you get that really bad concussion, it's just so much easier to get the next one. I mean, that's what took down Troy Aikman and Steve Young. Like, it was just that one nasty one they took, and then from then on, it was like they would just kind of barely get hit and concussion.
So I'll take this a step further, and I said this last offseason, and I didn't understand why the NFL wasn't allowing it. Now they're allowing it, but I'm not seeing anybody yet take advantage of it during the regular season. Tua should have a guardian cap on.
There's been
why would you not play with it? I don't.
There was a Steelers guy that had it on, like an O-lineman.
Was there? Okay, good for him. I don't understand why.
There's been a couple here and there. There hasn't been a lot, but there's been a few.
It blows my mind that every player does.
But
it
there's also
blows my mind that every player is not wearing it.
They also have a helmet though that's been approved that's actually better than the guardian cap that some players are wearing as well. That actually has better statistics than the guardian cap.
Interesting. So, I'd love to
wear the helmet and the guardian cap then. Like, why would you? I'm serious.
Caleb's though, like, fuck it. I got to protect my melon.
Why would you not do everything you could to, one, protect yourself for life after football, and two, protect yourself while you're playing football so you can stay on the field?
You know the answer.
Looks
and pride.
Which is mind-blowing to me because as an athlete who played a whole lot of sports all the way through high school and a little bit in college, that was something I never cared about. I wanted to be comfortable, and that was it. And so if I could wear a guardian cap and still be comfortable, I'd have been rocking a guardian cap. No questions asked.
And that's
like it's weird to me. It's just weird to me. It's also weird to me, though, that dudes wear like their jewelry while playing. Like, that also blows my mind.
I hate that.
Dude, I would have kept to leave you every time.
My earrings in. I feel like it's going to puncture something.
Right.
I get scared. Like, I can't do it.
No way. I'm not. Yeah, that's never
I
made
would
sense to me.
I would
either.
have kept Talib you.
Why would
No
you
doubt.
not take it off? Like it just whatever. Like okay. So yeah, those are things that my first couple thoughts were,
And
that hit shouldn't have caused a concussion, and
No,
why
but
is
the
he not
history
taking advantage
is-
of the new rules that allow you to better protect yourself?
Great questions, but I wanted to at least start with that, get it out of the way, so we
well,
can actually.
and
talk
unfortunately,
about the game.
the injury kind of overshadowed how good the Bills had kicked the shit out of them before it happened.
Oh, absolutely.
They own the Dolphins.
Bills
But
look sharp.
it just comes back to the point, and maybe this is a Mike McDaniel issue. I like Mike McDaniel, but they don't play good against good teams. Like they play bad.
I think, and I know people want to do that Mike McDaniel thing. I've heard that a couple times now. I think people are overestimating the roster. I don't think
Completely.
the roster is as good as people want to try and make it out all the time. They've got some really high-end people at a couple skill positions.
So,
but the overall roster construction, I don't think is that good. I also don't think the O-line is anything to be. It's middle of the road. It's nothing spectacular. So when they go up against these teams who are the top end, I think it's not a coaching. I think the coaching actually shows you how much it helps elevate the talent. I think it's more to do with the roster just isn't there yet.
I do have one issue with McDaniel and the roster construction. They've built a track team, which is all fine and well, but football is based on physicality.
Absolutely.
And when they play the better teams, they normally get bullied.
So this is where I will agree with you and then disagree with you. You're absolutely right. They built, for lack of a better way of explaining it, that old school. They built a finesse team, and a lot of teams they're playing are the punch in the mouth team type, right? And that's going to always be a problem. But you can get away with that if you go out and build one of the nastiest O-lines in the game. They just don't have that. So when you have a middle of the road O-line that isn't spectacular, and then you don't have any skill positions that can go out and bruise for you, it becomes an issue. I think if they would if they would go out and find a way to build their offensive line as one of the top 5, I think it would be a huge difference in what you see from them. But, to me, it's just, I still think Miami is kind of that next tier down. They just don't have the roster to compete with those top dogs.
Completely. And it was very apparent against the Bills. I mean, or against the Dolphins, excuse me. Josh Allen looks great. I really think, again, if the Bills have it to go the distance, they just need to know they can go the distance.
Yo, if the Bills want to let everybody know and put everybody on notice after that game and say, we can and will run the ball on you all day long if that's what it's going to take to win, they become the Super Bowl favorite in my mind, to be honest with you. Because they've already shown, for lack of a coaching decision, they're in the Super Bowl, then they have Kansas City beat in KC.
And their next game is against Jacksonville, which is going to be a slaughter.
I mean, Jacksonville beat them last year in London, so I mean,
I don't think they're going to have it this. Josh Allen and the Bills, man.
I mean, Jacksonville plays well in London. That's a home game for them, but I wouldn't say they're going to demolish them.
I don't know,
but
man.
they should.
I think the Bills are really.
They should win that game. I would agree. I think
absolutely.
the Bills are playing well, and I think, like we talked about, getting rid of Diggs, it's addition by subtraction. Josh Allen is just making plays to the open guy, and he's not worried about force feeding Diggs the ball on
Keon Coleman needs
occasions.
to be used a little bit more, I would think.
They have not really.
He's coming
gotten
along.
him involved.
He's coming along. He had a couple nice catches, but like Pinky said, they've got more weapons than people wanted to give them credit for, and that's what I kept saying all offseason. People are like, I'm down on the Bills. I'm down on the Bills. They're going to take a step. I didn't see it. I thought they were going to take a step forward. James Cook is a beast, and I think everybody saw that after last weekend. Dalton Kincaid arguably might be one of the most talented tight ends, top 5 tight ends in the league possibly, and he's barely touched the ball yet to start this season. You've got Coleman. You've got Shakur. Josh Allen running the ball still. You still got Dawson Knox there, who is no slouch. I mean, there's a lot of kind of middle of the road guys. Like a lot of people might call them Jags. But then you put this insanely brilliant quarterback back there, and all of a sudden these Jags get elevated.
Which
a la Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Which is what's supposed to happen when you pay your quarterback a crap ton of money and he's like the elite guy. He's supposed to make everybody else better.
Which is why if Joe Burrow is who he says he is, there's no way Jamar Chase is in Cincinnati long term.
There you go.
And I think that's what the Cincinnati owners are telling Joe.
Especially, I mean, shoot, let's go ahead and talk about that game then. Dude, how embarrassing for the Bengals. Like, dude, I
don't think it's embarrassing.
I feel like Jamar Chase, well, when your quarterback has to shove you off and say, dude, you're costing your team the game, I feel like that has a lot to say about that situation there.
Chase apologized after the game. He said it was a mistake. He's gotta be better. I think he allowed personal frustrations from the offseason with the organization kind of boil over onto the field. And he feels like the organization cost him time to where he's not where he feels he needs to be to help the team win. And I feel like he's kind of blaming the organization in the background because of that. And then that came out on the field in a bad way. I think it's funny when I hear all these talking heads in sports media be like, the Bengals outplayed them, but they lost. And Kansas City should not want to see them again. And there's a word I threw out that Pinky hated me using with Kansas City. But it's dominance.
Dude, I wasn't dominant.
You just hear me out. When you get to a certain level, you just, for whatever reason, kind of find these ways to win games that you shouldn't win. And it's
that's
a learned
not dominance,
trait.
That's luck.
It's not luck. It's a learned trait. Because if it was luck, Robert, the Patriots never would have been a dynasty. Because there are plenty of times they should have lost and still won in big games that mattered. And that's what Kansas City's doing right now.
No.
And I think people are failing to recognize that and want to jump on this whole, well, the refs bailed them out again. Oh, Cincinnati's a better team, but they lost. And they're not giving Kansas City as much credit as they should for finding a way to win.
I mean, when you have the most defensive callbacks on penalties for interceptions thrown, I mean, okay, sure. You're like, sorry. You're not going to convince me that A, that is dominance. That's just A, you're getting help, and 2, and B, I mean, fuck it. You are getting lucky. That is. I
mean, the penalty at the end of the game was a penalty. It was a penalty.
Still outplayed them.
We've seen that not called multiple times though. Whether it's
not that
or not,
egregious.
These last 2 weeks.
Not that egregious. Pinky.
That wasn't that egregious. I watched.
Dude, he was there a full second and a half before the ball.
We've seen dudes get raped and not have that called. So that was pretty weak. And again,
it wasn't weak. That was an obvious defensive pass interference. Obvious.
I don't see it that way. They called it.
Come on.
I didn't say they shouldn't have called it, but like to me that was a weak call. If you say it's pass interference, it's pass interference. It's fine.
He had the KC defender knocked over before the ball was even in the frame.
Hold on. I'm not even blaming that on the loss. The Bengals lost by giving the Chiefs back the football.
Well, yeah.
Instead of keeping the ball with 4 minutes left, they gave the Chiefs back the football. That's what lost you the game. If there is some luck involved with how the Chiefs have won, but they have learned, again, they have the best quarterback. They have the face of the NFL. They do get, when you have the face of the NFL, you get some calls here or there. That is absolutely a fact. I won't say that's a call, but Andy Reid, Mahomes, the offense, Travis Kelce, the defense, they all play well together. They know how to win. They're never hanging their heads. They expect to win, right?
Which Travis Kelce hasn't done shit all season.
He hasn't
yet.
They've built this up, and that's where, again, you give them the ball back, I will bet every time that the Chiefs will win. Like every time. You just can't do it. We've seen it too many times. You just can't give them the ball back. But also on that, I mean, if you want to call that same play, on that same play, the O lineman has literally got his arms around a guy's neck, and they didn't call holding. So, again, it should have been offsetting 4th and 16 again. So, where's the and again, it just comes back to what we talked about before. In some cases, there's no consistency.
Is not consistency, and there's just nothing there. And it honestly, Caleb, we've talked about it before on the podcast. It's honestly become something almost of a joke like the NBA. It's getting to that point of how many blatant calls are missed and not taken into account for. Again, had the call been ruled right, Bengals would have beat the Patriots.
Had what call been ruled right?
Did you miss this?
Yeah, inform me as well. Again, if Alex Smith was still the quarterback of the Chiefs, they don't get that call.
I mean, to me, that was an egregious. I mean, he was there way early.
I saw a lot of egregious stuff. Somehow, Sauce Gardner completely raped a guy in the end zone and didn't get called. Like it.
I mean, again, this is the NFL's fault, and until they make them full-time employees, and this is their number one priority job, nothing's going to change. I've been saying that for years, so it is what it is. But I had no issues with it, and I think the Chiefs went out and found a way to win.
And how many times on like those kind of Hail Mary plays, last plays of the game, do those calls not get made?
So I think I didn't look in a Hail Mary situation. If I saw this as a true Hail Mary situation, I would have said you don't call that. Because on Hail Marys, it's just kind of known. Like, guys are going to climb your back, and
it was 4th and 16, and he threw it like 30 yards. Is that?
But it wasn't a Hail Mary. It wasn't that,
In essence, the last seconds, and that was it. Yes, it's not a Hail Mary, but it's still
and I think that's why I don't
pass.
see I understand where you're coming from, and there is some similarities. I won't disagree with that. I just didn't look at it as that Hail Mary, so I do see it as a call that had to be made. I wish they were more consistent, and then it wouldn't be an issue at all. It's textbook pass interference in my mind.
At the end of the day, that did not cause them to lose the game.
No.
Giving Kansas City the ball back caused them to lose the game.
Now, what Andy Reid and the Chiefs do to replace Pacheco is going to be interesting because he has become a vital part of their offense, not their run game, of their offense. He has become a vital part. Yes, they signed Kareem Hunt today to the practice squad.
I don't know if he's got as much left.
That's what I wonder, though. His last year in Cleveland was bad. He didn't look good.
But
now, is that him not wanting to be there because they kept screwing him over, say they would trade him? They didn't sign him to a deal, this, that, and the other. He wasn't happy there. So it could have been him just not wanting to be there, not playing.
The Chiefs are going to get a couple good weeks out of Hunt. I think that will.
I'm going to say this right now. If Kareem Hunt was just trying to get out of Cleveland and he can still ball, Pacheco might not have a job when he gets back. Because Kareem Hunt was one of the top 5 backs in the league when he was going.
That's quite a few years ago, though, man.
I agree, but he hasn't had a lot of wear and tear since then. We talked about it a couple of times, Pinky, last year. We were confused on why he didn't look the same. Now, we did say sometimes that just happens to NFL players. One year they have it, and then the next year they do not. But we didn't expect to see that from him. So we kept wondering if there was an injury or if something else was going on, and nothing ever came up. So we just kind of figured he had lost it. I'm just saying, if he hasn't lost it and he was just trying to basically play his way out of Cleveland and he can still play, that's a scary weapon that Kansas City just added. I don't believe, hear me out. I don't believe that's the case, though, right? I'm just throwing out all the possibilities. I don't believe that's the case, though, because I believe if he truly was still that explosive, it wouldn't have been this far into the season before he was signed, right? Like, somebody would have picked him up by now. Shit, Dallas would have gone and gotten him if that was the case.
Denver needs help. They would have got him.
Right. So I don't believe he still has it. So
Robert, did you find what you were looking for?
No, I didn't. I'm gonna need to do some more research. I'll have to send it later.
All right.
I'll have to find it.
All right, let's
they'll get a couple good weeks out of him, but I don't think it's gonna be any major signing because I do think you're right. I don't think he still has it anymore.
Let's see. What else?
If he did,
what else we got? We got a couple things we need to talk about.
I I did want to ask each of you: was there a particular game outside of the home teams we usually like that you favored or had liked to or had seen good stats from? Because I actually had one I'd like to talk about, but I'll see.
Go with it, buddy.
First. So,
we talk so much, so you let us know what you want to talk about.
My favorite game of the weekend, honestly, was the 49ers Vikings game because so much happened in that game. And for Sam Darnold to not only just become an absolute dude, get out of here.
That's my aunt. You boys settle down. That's my aunt. Love you, Aunt Sharon.
So, I mean, with Sam Darnold and what he's doing right now is just insane.
Say it a little louder. What?
I mean,
what's happening?
I mean, I don't know if I'd go insane.
I never had any beef against Sam Darnold.
The 49ers made a lot of mistakes in that game.
Oh, wait. We're going to backtrack now from what you said last week, huh? I was waiting to hear some crow being eaten, and now you're making excuses?
I'm not eating no crow. He threw an interception. He had 2 fumbles lost. Like, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't dominant. They won by 6 points. 49ers went for like 3 times on 4th and 2 and missed it. Like,
Didn't you say something about if he makes the game competitive, you would say Sam Darnold can actually play? Wasn't there something?
I didn't say he couldn't. I didn't say he can't play. I just don't think he's amazing.
I didn't
feel like
say
you're
he was
going back
amazing.
a little bit
I
here on what
it
you
was
said you were
awesome
going to do.
see.
I didn't see anything that was amazing.
Dude, Justin Jefferson went out with an injury.
No Addison.
They were still winning. They were winning when all that happened.
Jones fumbles on the goal line.
Like, that game was great to see.
It's wild how many Darnold haters there still are because they just don't want to admit the dude can play quarterback.
I didn't say he can't play quarterback. I'm just not
feel
saying
like
he's
said
amazing.
He can't play quarterback.
Well, he's got a game this weekend. We'll find out.
You said that last weekend with him playing San Francisco. And you said, okay. All right.
I still think this had more to do with
home.
San Francisco's mistakes than it was Vikings being great. So
I didn't say the Vikings are great. I just said it was a good game to watch.
I didn't get to watch it, so I don't know. All I saw was highlights.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny how Sam Darnold leads the Vikings to a victory. And Pinky last week was talking about how if he just makes the game competitive and they win.
That victory against the Giants doesn't really count, Robert. Okay.
Listen,
Nebraska might be able to beat the Giants now.
The Giants blew it for themselves this last Sunday, okay?
Sam Darnold is playing great football, and he's got Jay Jetta. And now Jay Jetta's out. And he's still playing. He was out the second half, basically.
He was out the second half, but he's not out.
Right. But he was playing great football. Jay Jetta was out. Still played great football. Doesn't have a lot of weapons around him per se, like, I don't know, a Brock Purdy or, a Jordan Love or Jalen Hurts or playing good football. Vikings are 2-0, regardless of who they played or what mistakes you want to say the other team made. Think it's time to start giving the man a little bit of credit here.
I didn't say anything bad about him. I'm just not giving him his flowers yet. I'm going to hold that for another week or two. He's got to earn them. Okay.
So you're just going to hold it every week is what you're saying. That's
he's got to earn it.
We're going to get to the end of the year and you're still going to be holding flowers. Let's just call it what it is.
I hope somebody wants to give him the money. I hope they do. Good for him. I think it'll be a bad investment, but good for them. Next, what else you want to talk about, Robert?
I mean, the Giants lost it themselves, and Malik Neighbors needs to figure out how to catch some balls.
We ain't talk. I mean, he had 130 yards. He had like 10 catches.
He missed some pretty crucial catches.
He did, unfortunately, have 2 big drops, I think it was. But, I mean, it is what it is.
So, I mean, when you have 127 yards of the 178 yards passing, I think you're okay.
I mean, yeah, but Jane Daniels looked pretty sharp, too. So I did get to see a bulk of that game. So it was pretty entertaining to see that. It was close.
I would
That's really
like
all
to
I have
see
to say
Jaden
about
Daniels
that.
go through some progressions a little bit better. I'm honestly surprised Terry McLaren hasn't been talked about a little bit more. I thought he would get a little bit more look. Doesn't seem like he is.
I mean, he
Could be
did.
play calling. It could be play calling. I'm not quite sure yet.
He got 6 catches. It just happened to be only for 22 yards.
I know some just seems, and that's why I said I'm not sure if it's the play calling or if it's Jaden just not quite going through the progressions the way he needs to. I love Jaden. We all know I talked about him last year. I felt he deserved the Heisman, this, that, and the other. So nothing against him, and he's a rookie. He'll progress. I think he looks a lot better than Caleb Williams.
Eh.
I think he looks a lot better than Bo Nix.
Well, his team is doing what those other 2 teams aren't doing. They're running the football. And again, Brian Robinson has been a monster both weeks. That's giving him that ability.
It helps a lot.
When they go play action, people are actually worried about the run. The Bears haven't run worth a damn. The Broncos haven't run worth a damn. They're not helping.
There is no Broncos run game.
There's no run game. They're not helping their quarterbacks at all. Now, for Jaden, I don't know if I want to see him running 10 times a game, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I want to see more progression through the.
But he's getting comfortable. He's 23 for 29, 200 yards. He did take 5 sacks. I didn't get to watch the game, so I don't know if those sacks were on him or if they were on the O-line.
Little of both. Yeah,
it was a little of
but
both.
Again, he's playing well. They won the game. It was the Giants, but he's
got a very Lamar-esque look to him right now.
All three showed some improvement. Jaden just happens to be above the other 2, and they're supporting him better than the other 2 teams.
Man, I'm not sure what you were watching, but I didn't see a whole lot of improvement in Caleb Williams or Bo Nix.
There was improvement in both of those.
Look
at their support. I mean, Caleb Williams has been the worst.
The Bears and Caleb Williams have no excuse.
What was the text message he sent? Well, you're not going to have to punt anymore. Punts like 12 times in week 2.
Not on him.
Come on.
Fully believe it's not on him.
Disagree.
Some of it's on him.
No, I'm not going to say he doesn't have any blame. He's a rookie quarterback.
He did take a beating, though. He took a beating.
But the overall scenario and situation that they're in right now is not on him. The play calling has been atrocious, and the offensive line isn't good. And I've been saying this for 4 years now since Justin Fields was there. It's the same thing. They're doing the same things. Bad play calling, no offensive line. You're going to get your quarterback looking like he's a mess every time.
You got to run the football.
Yep.
Well, yeah, you got to run the football. You also have to do things that allow your quarterback to get into a rhythm. Cut the field. What is Pittsburgh doing for Justin Fields right now? A lot of the offense, they're cutting the field in half, right?
They're not even doing that. They're like Pickens, Freiermuth. Those are the only 2 guys you look at.
Whatever you want to say. They're doing things to help the quarterback with the play calling and putting them in positions to succeed. What is my biggest gripe with coaches, Pinky?
They always want to make you fit into their offense versus doing what you do well.
A coach's job is to put the talent in positions to succeed, not to force the talent to do what you want. And Eberflus seems to not understand what it means to have a young quarterback and develop him. Because that dude obviously has zero plan for a development of a young quarterback. I am officially a believer in that right now.
I just feel like they thought he's really awesome. We put these weapons around. He's going to be good. Which, by the end of the season, he could be.
You should have known in training camp, going against your defense, which is actually a pretty damn good defense.
It is pretty good.
That you need to change the playbook or the way you're calling plays. Because there is no way Caleb Williams in training camp looked like fire and then comes out in the season and looks like hot garbage. Because your defense is good. So if he looked like fire against your defense, then he should be able to look somewhat competitive against these other teams. And he's not looking competitive at all.
You probably don't scheme up a lot of weird stuff against your own quarterback. You don't get to hit him.
You understand what I'm saying, though.
Right,
there should be signs there that the playbook needs to be.
But I think I saw improvement from week 1 to week 2. It wasn't a lot, but there's improvement from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah, I didn't see improvement. I didn't.
I did from Caleb, but And that's on
I
top
saw
of
DJ Moore wide open on a number of plays. Quick reads that he looked the opposite way for. So, no,
Right.
I did not see improvement.
Well,
I saw some balls get caught a couple more times. That's all I saw.
I think he's looking for Rome, man. I think
Which
he's
is a
looking for Rome.
mistake because DJ Moore is one of the best wide receivers in the league.
Again, they should be able to scheme a way to just 5-yard slant, get a DJ Moore hands, let him do the rest. Like,
oh, hey, DeAndre Swift, are you healthy? Yep, I am. Super talented running back. Why are you not running the ball? Like Pinky said, like there's so many issues here with the Bears. It looks the exact same as it did last year. The only difference is the quarterback is different. That's the only difference I'm seeing right now. And that should be a huge red flag to ownership because I think Ryan Poles as the GM has failed miserably. And I think the head coach is a mistake.
the coach is getting fired. Poles will get another year or two. But yeah, Eberflus will probably get fired by the end of the year. They will bring in an offensive coach, Ben Johnson, or is it Ben? Yeah, Ben, Brian Slovic.
Lions, you're talking?
Yeah, the Lions guy, or they'll bring in the Texans offensive coordinator. They're going to replace him. It's going to happen. But will that matter if they don't improve the O-line?
No. Well, yes, because a smarter coach will scheme better.
A little, but they'll still have those moments where they can't block up Will Anderson or TJ Watt or Myles Garrett. Like they're going to have those issues.
Yep. And I had Bears fans talk to me about how the Bears O-line actually had some decent stats and rankings last year. And I try to tell them, yeah, because your quarterback ran the ball. So when that is always there as a way out, it makes the O-line look a little better. Caleb Williams doesn't have that same ability. He is a magician within the pocket. I fully believe that. And he's mobile. He can run. Not like Justin Fields, but he can run. But he's really good at escaping and moving within the pocket. The problem is when there is no pocket, you can't be a magician within it. And so when he's trying to do all these little things to get away from defenders and spin and juke, and there's no pocket to get back into. It's just more defenders coming at you. And so people want to keep being like, well, Caleb Williams can't do that in the NFL like he did in college. Well, like in college, there was still a little bit of room for him to still have a pocket to move into.
When he did that in college, like the interception he threw, he actually was able to get out of the pressure. Really cool. And then he runs to the outside. In college, that guy's going to be open. In the NFL, he ain't open.
And there's some learning curves there for him as well. But, yeah, the Bears are a mess.
I saw some improvement, but I felt bad for the kid because he really did get the shit kicked out of him.
Now, transitioning over to Pittsburgh and the former Chicago Bears quarterback, I saw – and Pinky, this is not me being a huge Fields fan. This is honestly what I saw.
You are a huge Fields fan.
I know I am, but this isn't coming from that. I saw a quarterback who I believe is on the verge of taking the next step. And if that is the case, and he does take that next step, Pittsburgh is going to be dangerous. There were two plays, one in particular, they got called back that was an amazing throw. Like, top 0.01% type throws down the sideline to George Pickens. And I got called back for offensive holding, I think it was. But it put the Steelers down on like the 6 or something like that. It was like a 40-yard dime. And then there's another one sideline out that got called back as well. Pickens would have had a huge day if it wasn't for those two penalties. But I saw some things where I feel like Fields and Steelers are on the verge of him taking that next step and breaking out. And they're still holding him back a little bit, I think rightfully so. Build his confidence up a little bit. Help him kind of unlearn some of those bad things that he got into the habit of in Chicago. And if they can keep winning games and him playing the way he is, it's only better for them long term, right? So I know my week 1 overreaction last week was I see a lot of hope for the Steelers and not as much for Atlanta. Thankfully, Atlanta completely changed their play calling, and Kirk Cousins doesn't look like he's unhealthy. So those are good things for Atlanta. But when it comes to Pittsburgh, that defense might be the best in the league, honestly. And if Justin Fields can play turnover free and he can have the threat of his feet and continues to develop his ability to read the defense, and they keep kind of building blocking that up as the season goes,
Which
Pittsburgh's
they play
going
the
to be
Chargers next
scary.
week, so
Pittsburgh's going to be scary. But this all depends on if Justin Fields is really looking to take that next step. I do believe that's what I saw.
I
But
think
that
he'll
is
look
a
pretty
big
strong against the Chargers, honestly, next week. I think it'll be a testament for him.
We'll see. And I know, Pinky, I'm taking a huge leap here. I get that. I'm not trying to deny that.
It's not a huge leap for you. I feel like this is what you would say regardless of whatever he does. So it's not a huge leap for you.
He played well last year, and the numbers proved it. Like,
he played okay. They scored 13 points. Like, I don't see like that's amazing. He was okay. The best thing he did is he didn't turn the ball over.
but that's what I'm saying. Like,
one of his issues has been is his ball security, whether throwing the ball or fumbling, has been an issue. He has been clean so far.
I'm
And
just saying,
as long as he stays clean,
would be willing to just, kind of suck it up and say, "This is what you want me to do. I'll do it."
a guy that knows he's going to be a career backup if he doesn't.
I think there's been plenty of quarterbacks throughout history that have said, "I'm not willing to do that." I think that says a lot about his character. We'll see. I know
think
you didn't see anything special from him.
Look,
I saw quite a bit.
If he plays mistake-free football and the games he does, they have a chance. But they still – so either they still kind of suck on offense or Denver has a good defense. One of the two things is true.
Well, Denver's defense was supposed to be good this year, so now,
again, maybe he could be better when he's playing a crappy defense. Maybe.
I didn't see anything
great.
Transition to the Broncos. First of all, George Pickens had a field day with Pat Surtain. Like, you just paid that dude a lot of money, and this guy who's not even considered one of the best receivers in the league ate you up. So that's first of all. That leads me to this. I want to retouch on me saying I think it was a mistake to sign Surtain. Again, it's not about his talent, okay? I think he is a great cornerback. It's the fact that you move him and you can get a couple firsts. It's what you can do instead of having him on the team that I think is more valuable moving forward. And I think that was shown this weekend. Denver has holes all over that roster. And you're not going to fix that in just one draft or one free agency offseason. This is something that has to be built up over the next couple of years. And it has to be built up smartly, or you will be middle of the road permanently, like purgatory style. And that's a bad place to be in the NFL. I also think that I am full on now that Sean Payton is not the right guy for this job. Maybe he is still a brilliant offensive mind, but I don't see a guy who can develop a young quarterback. The play calling I've seen the last 2 weeks has done Bo Nix zero favors.
The long play calling has been awful.
You're doing no favors to your rookie quarterback who you're supposed to be developing into the future of this franchise, who you handpicked. And what I'm seeing the first 2 weeks from that quarterback and that offense and that play calling and that head coach, none of it's been in sync. None of it's looked good, and none of it looks like it's in the betterment of that first round 12th overall pick. So, look, I said I think there's this thing that could be of concern. I'll kind of give it some time and wait and see. I'm done waiting and seeing. I truly believe Sean Payton is not the man for this job in this situation. And any Broncos fan right now that's out there still thinking George Payton deserves his job is a blind fanatic. I don't know what else to say. The dude is a terrible GM.
Sean Payton or George Payton? Sorry, you meant the GM. My bad.
Yeah, he is an awful GM. Look at the roster. Look at what's going on right now. This dude has been at the helm for 4 years now, Pinky?
Yes.
He's actually gotten the roster worse over those 4 years than where it was when he took over. So people are bashing John Elway and Joe Ellis and what they left the organization in. Well, the GM that you've been talking up so much and telling me I'm an idiot for saying he's been making bad moves, has now put the franchise in even worse position than it was when he started. There's nothing good, unfortunately, as a Broncos fan. You can't see it, right? They're getting a little close. Oh, yeah. I'm wearing black today, my black Broncos hat, because you should be in mourning as a Broncos fan. Because this organization is a long way from the glory that it expects itself to be in.
That's why I wore this week, because I'm like, I don't have anybody. Well, that's not true. I'm saving that for the end, but that wasn't that big of a deal.
So, unfortunately, I didn't see anything good from the Broncos game. And you saw improvement from Bo Nix. I did not. I don't think week 1 was as bad as people wanted to make it believe. I just think week 1 and 2 were just basically more of the same. It just looked a little bit different in the outcomes and the way it went out. But
the fact that he didn't get killed in that game and he was able to move in the pocket, escape some pressure, throw the ball quick to not get killed. Again, not many guys are open, man.
I agree. And if you want to call that improvement, Pinky, I'll agree with you there.
If you're playing the Steelers,
but to me, that's not. I just don't see that as an improvement. I see that as the Steelers. It's just Bo Nix getting more familiar with the speed of the game. I don't see it as an improvement. I just see that as a him being more comfortable on the field.
That just shows me he's got some stuff if you can make it out alive against a defense like that.
Well, yeah. But again, we've said he's a talented quarterback. I didn't think it was a reach to take him at 12. So,
but it is very, if Sean Payton can't call better plays and we can't run the ball, and it's very evident we have no wide receiver playmakers, we're in for a tough year because no one's coming to save them. And like they don't have a guy that they can consistently count on to be open or catch the ball.
I threw out a thought that, I mean, if I'm the GM of the Broncos, this should have already been a phone call. I doubt he's made it because he's not intelligent at his job. But I threw out an idea that I thought Pinky would hate and laugh at me for, and he actually upped the ante on me, which I was surprised about. But I said
I gotta keep you guessing.
You do. You're good at that. I said the Broncos should go over to Tampa Bay and say, "Hey, we'll give you a 6th for Trey Palmer."
Yeah,
he's not really seeing the field right now, and it's not lack of talent. I fully believe the only reason he's not seeing the field right now is he was a 6th-round pick and Polk was a 2nd-round pick. Like, I think that's the only difference. I could be wrong, but Palmer showed some really good play last year.
He had a good connection with Baker, so I don't know why he's not.
Yeah, something's off, right? So he played well his rookie year behind Godwin and Evans and still found a way to catch the ball and make some plays, right? So, but part of me only says that as kind of a, little poke to the bear kind of thing as well to Broncos fans, because I said they should have drafted him over Marvin Mims, and I was called an idiot. And look what Marvin Mims is contributing right now. So they got to do something, and they should have already done it. I thought Cortland Sutton would be a little better than he's shown.
I mean, Tampa Bay is not, with Godwin's injury history, Mike Evans' age, they are not letting go of a talented guy, even if they're not using him. It's just not. That's just not happening. They're going to be like, you just kind of sit back here on the bench. We will need you at some point.
Right.
So,
and it's a good problem to have in Tampa, right?
That is a good idea and would be worth making the phone call. So you are good. You were good on that one.
Now, transitioning again. I love how this is flowing right now, gentlemen. And then we'll go into this week. Pinky, I'm going to eat crow. I'm going to eat a full plate of it. I'm done saying anything bad about my guy, Baker.
Let's go.
Look, you want to go back? I'm on tape saying I like Baker a lot when he first got drafted.
Well, you liked his moxie, his leadership.
I did. I thought Cleveland made a huge mistake, but I didn't think Baker played his cards very well. I didn't like the way he handled it either. I thought he could have done some things differently to better his situation. And then he went and played poorly, and I thought he had kind of lost it. I said as much. Baker, sir, I am sorry. Go out and ball, my guy. I ate my full plate of crow, and I'll also say Tampa's a dangerous team.
Dude,
long term, I could see a scenario where Tampa represents the NFC in the Super Bowl this year. they're playing that well. The defense is playing better than I had expected, which maybe we should have expected that with Todd Bowles being the coach. But more surprising to me is how well that offense is playing, and it looks like they're getting better.
Temporarily, they might have an issue that they have like 3 D linemen, like 3 of their starters are banged up right now.
And you're right, they're not as deep as maybe they were in the Tom Brady era run and things of that nature. But I'll eat the crow. I'll eat my Tampa Bay Crow right now. Week 2. I'm sorry, Atlanta, you got legit competition in your division, and it's not just Tampa, even though Tampa's the one we're talking about right now. But I think the NFC South is actually going to be a lot more fun and competitive division than we had originally anticipated it to be.
Can we talk about, for a second, coming back to the Tampa game, so Detroit did a really good job of getting Sun God back involved in the game, as he was non-existent last week. But somehow he can't see 87 to save his life.
Yeah, I don't know why Laporta's not getting the ball at all.
I don't even have anything nice to say about this, so I'm not even gonna.
That defense also needs to get their stuff together. They need to figure something out because they're far too inconsistent for Detroit to make a playoff run right now.
And
the way they're going,
and in a close game, the way it is, Jared Goff should not have 55 passes.
Nope. Yeah, Ben Johnson's play calling up to this point so far, the first 2 games, has been nowhere near as brilliant as it was last year.
Do you know what they did last year that really set the tone for everything?
Play action, baby.
They pounded the rock with David Montgomery and then sprinkled in Gibbs. And then, they were able to do play action because you were tired of getting David Montgomery down your throat.
Which you could still do. They're just choosing not to for whatever reason.
Brad, get ready. Get ready for that top 10 pick. It's coming. It is going to be what it is. At this point, I'm going to have to eat crow to Captain Jack, who may show up at some point throughout the year to tell me I'm an idiot, which is fine. Raiders will probably win more games. They're still really bad too, though. Gardner's not going to make it, but Broncos are in for a tough year, Brad. Buckle up, buddy. Buckle up. It's happening. They're probably 1-5 or 0-6.
Broncos fans would be in a lot better mood if they had just listened to me from the beginning.
No, but then we wouldn't have PS2, so I wouldn't necessarily want to listen to you all the fucking time. Caleb.
Look, man, not even about the moves the team should have made, just about what the season and what you should be expecting. Like,
hey,
dude, like it was written on the wall for everybody.
Thankfully, these were 2 close games they lost. They didn't get blown out. We'll see what happens when they play actually better teams. So
the final thought was the NFC South, and I wanted to end with Derek Carr and the Saints, who we had written off pretty much.
We're not going to talk about the Falcons and the Eagles game?
Nah, we're not going to talk about the game. Nah. We'll just move into next week. We can't cover everything. We can't. We've learned this, Pinky. We'll go 3 hours.
That's true. That would happen.
An hour and a half. We still hour at best.
We still got to talk about this week coming up, my guy. We're only gonna We're only gonna have 30 minutes to talk about this week coming up.
All right. Well, all I gotta say then is Kirk Cousins looking good again. He's looking sharp. I don't say he's quite back, but he's on his way. Thought it was great. Eagles, you fucked it up. That's all I have to say. Now let's talk about it.
I kind of wanted to talk about that.
Now we have to talk about it.
I got to talk about one thing.
We'll talk about the Saints later. Go ahead.
Everybody's blaming Saquon. He dropped that ball, and I get it.
And Sirianni for the play call.
But here's the thing. The Eagles on 4th should have gone for it. Because, again, if you are up 3 and they go down and score a touchdown, you lose. If you're up 6, they go down and score a touchdown, you lose. If it's 4th and 3 and you get the first, game over, or you score the touchdown because you were right there, game over. It's 10-point lead. If you don't get it, they're on like the 5-yard line and have to drive the whole field.
I mean, yeah, that's a way to look at it as well. Another way to look at it is a brilliant fucking play call. Saquon catches that, game's over, and everybody's praising that decision.
Right.
No different than Dan Campbell last year and how I praised him and everybody was giving him hell. So I appreciate the aggressiveness, and I will never fall back.
I wanted Sirianni to go one step further.
That's fine.
I think
and I don't hate that.
Goal,
you know how I feel about fourth downs. I don't hate that at all. This is
going for 6 does nothing for you.
This is the bigger concern for me on the Eagles real quick, and then we'll discuss the Falcons. I've said this for a while now, and it still blows my mind that he's in the league, but Vic Fangio is done. He can't play. He can't call plays in today's NFL. The game has passed him by. He has decided not to learn and adjust his defense to said offenses within the league. There's too much talent on that Eagles defense to get run the way they have been. And on top of that, how are you going to allow Kirk Cousins a clean pocket in a 2-minute drill the entire time? Any halfway decent quarterback in the NFL given a clean pocket with no pressure in the 2-minute drill is going to complete passes. This is not an indictment on the Eagles and their talent and their ability. This should be an indictment on the play calling of the head coach, the play calling of the defensive coordinator to allow that, and then unfortunately at the end, the inability of the player to come up in the big time.
The downfall of Fangio's defense has always been he doesn't blitz. He sends the 4 guys.
Yes, I know. He bends but doesn't break. But he was sending 3.
Right.
On that 2-minute drill. He wasn't even sending 4. He was sending 3. Like,
and again,
dumb.
I would send 5.
Absolutely, especially if it's not a mobile quarterback and they have to go the length of the field.
I want you to make quick decisions. If you hit the wide open guy for 7 yards, I'm fine with that.
My biggest issue is the Eagles defense is not going to get better through the course of the year with Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator, and they're probably not going to make another in-season adjustment like they did last year because it went terribly wrong when they did. So that's going to be something to watch for the Eagles all season.
They should. The Eagles defense should be okay, but they're gonna have games where it's 34-30, right? That's what's gonna happen.
Talent on that side of the field should not allow that, so that's an issue. For the Falcons, congratulations, you won the game. It says that you are talented in the way that everybody expected you to be, and you can compete with the big boys, but you got some issues. And the main issue I see right now is the fact that you have a dude named Kyle Pitts on your team that you are deciding to not integrate into the offense at all.
They hate Kyle Pitts as much as Detroit hated TJ Hawkinson. I don't know why. They just don't like him.
I don't get it because there's an additional weapon there that by all accounts everybody says is still a weapon. But then you can't explain why he's not being used. So if Drake London is there and you have Bijan Robinson and Mooney is looking like he's kind of starting to build up into that role
Mooney's a solid
like we expected him to be. If you want to be in that upper echelon, then you need Kyle Pitts to be touching the ball. You need to be every game going, Drake London had a good game. Bijan Robinson had a good game. Oh, Kyle Pitts had a good game, and Darnell Mooney sprinkled in when we needed him. If Atlanta can't say that, I don't believe they're going to be able to get over the hump and be in that upper echelon when the end of the season comes. So let's see what happens with to me, basically, what this season says about Kyle Pitts, if he never gets integrated into the offense, by the end of the season, to me, that would say Kyle Pitts is a bust. And he was not worth the draft pick, and he's never going to be what everybody thought he was. Because I have that much faith in Kirk Cousins and Raheem Morris and the people in that organization now that if Kyle Pitts is that good, they'll eventually figure it out.
I mean, Ben Johnson couldn't work with TJ Hawkinson. He goes to Minnesota and he blows up. So I don't know if we could say that. I just don't I don't know. I don't know why they don't use him.
Something's off. But we'll see. But to the final transition, then we'll go to this week.
Yes, Saints. Cowboys. Saints kicked ass.
You've got Tampa, who we didn't think was going to be that good, and I was wrong. I just said that. I think they're really good. You've got Atlanta, who after week 1, we were overreact. They're bad. Hard to say what's going to happen. Kirk Cousins isn't healthy too. Week 2. Oh, never mind. They're smart. They changed their play calling. Kurt looks pretty good. They'll figure it out. Atlanta's still good. Now after week 2, we got to go. It's hard to argue if you want to say the Saints are the best team in the NFC. I can't say you're an idiot because they've had 15 offensive possessions and they've scored on every single one of them. They smoked Dallas. Derek Carr is looking MVP Derek Carr form. The Saints look really good, and we did say they always find a way to have a defense. Cam Jordan's still there. The defense will be okay. That's not the problem. That's not
Honey Badger. Honey Badger had a great game.
Honey Badger's in the back end. Like, Saints are good.
You know what Clint Kubiak has done?
Smart offensive play calling.
Well, what's crazy? This is the same Clint Kubiak who took over play calling for the Broncos 2 years ago with Nathaniel Hackett. Things didn't change very much, but he's got much better talent in New Orleans right now. So he's doing 2 things. They are running the football.
Damn right they are.
And then they have the highest percentage of play action.
Yeah, and Carr has always been known as a really good play action quarterback.
Right.
But he's dropping dimes right now. Dudes are making plays. Saints look dangerous. And I don't have any reason right now to say that's going to change.
And the Cowboys go, we suck again.
They've looked really good. Unfortunately, our buddy Aaron did predict the Saints would score over 40 points this week. And he did predict that they would beat the Cowboys, which is pretty crazy. The Cowboys don't play out of division opponents very well. But it was at home. The last 2 games at home have been really bad.
Teams are just looking at the Green Bay tape from the playoffs and saying, let's just keep doing that because they didn't address it. They didn't do anything to change it. They're still insanely weak up the middle, and they have nothing at the second level. Let's take advantage of it. And teams are. They're eating them alive that way. And Dallas will have no way of changing that throughout the course of the season. So they just have to hope Dak and the offense starts clicking.
I hope the Saints play well because, again, I'm going down to a Saints game. I've got my Drew Brees jersey now. I'm ready to rock. So I hope they continue playing well. And it's going to be Saints-Falcons. So as long as those 2 teams are playing well, it should be a good game.
This is a big ask. And I apologize because I know you bought the Brees jersey for just this thing. But would it be too much to ask for you to get a Manning jersey and rock that down there instead?
Andy's rocking that.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair. All right. Good. I
wanted to be him and I were like, he wanted Manning. I was like, well, if he gets Manning, I'll get Brees.
I'm good with that. All right. I should have known better. I should have known you guys already had that figured out.
We got you.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Right,
so hopefully they continue to play well. All right.
Next week. So Thursday.
Transitioning into week 3. Thursday night.
Patriots and Jets. 6:15.
Gross.
At the Jets Stadium in New Jersey. So
we say gross, Jets, but the Patriots are looking better than we expected them to, unfortunately.
Didn't they?
And
they just
I think
they just lost to the Seahawks.
People want to talk about, the Jets offense didn't look great last week and this, that. Tennessee always finds a way to make games ugly. It seems like anytime somebody plays somebody in Tennessee, it's an ugly game. Like, it just seems like that's the nature of the Titans. And I saw some things from that Jets offense where I went, oh, ooh.
Titans were at home too,
That's what I'm saying. They always make it ugly at home somehow. Even if the team's really good, Titans have a way to make the game dirty. And the Jets still won, and there were some moments of brilliance from that Jets offense. That Aaron Rodgers looks like that rust has maybe been kicked off now to where I think you could see this Jets offense starting to roll.
It's getting there. So,
but hey, real quick, what's going on with the Jets defense, dude? That's a defense that we thought might be the number 1 defense in the league, and it's bottom half right now.
nobody should move the ball on the Jets defense.
Dude, what is going
And they
on?
just lost Jermaine Johnson for the season.
I know.
Who's one of their best edge rushers.
And Ramondre Stevenson and the Patriots can run the ball. And the Jets have shown they cannot stop the run.
That's why the Patriots have been competitive.
Yep.
Because they will run the ball down your throat.
So while I think the Jets offense is going to look even better than we've seen so far, I think this might be a better game than we had initially anticipated it to be.
Well, it's a Thursday night game, which usually are turds. Don't bet this game. If you're going to bet on Breece Hall to score a touchdown, I think that should happen.
I was actually going to go a little bit different. I think Garrett Wilson finally has a huge game. I think over 100 yards and a couple tuds from Garrett Wilson.
Christian Rodriguez is pretty good, man.
I'm not saying he's not. I just feel like Thursday night game, Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson breakout. That's what I'm feeling right now.
All right. So after Robert, what do you think about the Thursday night game?
I don't really care. I mean, I personally think the Jets should win this. I think Breece Hall should have a good game, but really, I don't really care about either of these teams because Aaron Rodgers hasn't done anything spectacular that I could care about right now.
Damn, Robert just laying it down. All right,
okay.
Let's go to the turds. Giants and Browns.
Giants and Browns. Browns are gonna lose to the Giants. I hope.
That's not happening. They're gonna beat the Giants.
Caleb.
They're gonna beat the Giants.
Help me out here, man. Don't leave me in the wilderness on this.
So, based on the way this young season has gone already, I would not put it past the Giants to win. Do I think they will? No. Would it surprise me if they did? Not in the slightest right now.
That's my guy.
Dude, Deshaun Watson's playing bad football.
He's playing terrible football.
Deshaun Watson is playing bad football.
I am waiting. My son is just really waiting for the week that they finally pull him and play Jameis Winston. Crab Daddy needs to get in there.
I'm surprised he hasn't been named the starter already. So, side note, just read this today, blew my mind. Can't believe this went unreported by the national media. Did you guys know that when they restructured Deshaun Watson's contract, they removed the clause that said that they can pull his guaranteed money if another incident comes up?
What?
That's how they got him to agree to the restructure, apparently, Pinky.
What restructure? I didn't hear anything about a restructure.
Yeah, right before the season started. They restructured his deal. He got a bunch up front, signing bonus or something like that. Yeah.
I'm sending it to you right now, Pinky.
So yeah.
That is the most Browns thing to do.
Very much so. Very much so.
Because it created cap space.
Look, it'd be like, hey, you want more of this money right now? Because again, they always tell you if you can get the money now, the value of the dollar now is worth more than it is a couple years from now. So get it now. That's the whole point of restructuring. I'm going to give you money right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole point. Like, your agent's going to be like, yeah, do it.
But the reason it sounds like now that they accepted the restructure was because they removed the clause.
That's awful. Awful. Because he is playing. This is going to be, God, this trade and the Bryce Young trade and the Russell Wilson trade, all three of them, like, you just put them up on a game show and like, who did it worse? Like, who's worst? They're all bad.
Like, everybody wants to talk about the Herschel Walker trade as the worst trade in NFL history.
That one's really bad.
It's bad, but if you truly know what the trade was, it's not that bad. Because let me give it to you real quick. The way the NFL used to work back in the day, and the mindset and the thought process with everybody within the good old boy system was, when you make a trade like that, Jimmy Johnson traded Herschel Walker and he got a bunch of veteran players back. Within that trade, though, it was stated if you drop A player, you get A pick. If you drop B player, you get B pick. They had values for these guys if they were dropped or cut. Nobody had ever followed up on that, though, because that veteran was more valuable in everybody's old school, good old boy system. That veteran was more valuable than some unknown draft pick. Along comes Jimmy Johnson from college. Who knows? Guess what? All these draft picks. And he says, no, it's cool. I'm not going to cut any of these guys. I need to fill all these holes. I need these veterans. Don't worry about it. This is good. And then immediately went to, cut. Draft pick. And the Minnesota Vikings were like, oh, what the hell just happened? And he built a dynasty with it because he knew the talent that was coming up and he knew what he could do with it. It had never been done before. It was not something common, thought about, or even game planned for. So while it's a bad trade after the fact, it wasn't looked at as such on paper in that situation. It actually looked like Dallas was making the mistake, not Minnesota. In today's modern NFL, where those things aren't an issue anymore and those factors aren't non-considerables, and it's common practice to want draft picks over veterans, I do believe the 3 trades that Pinky just talked about are fully at the top of the list of who do you want to pick for worst trade in NFL history now. I believe those 3 have moved to the top because of what I just explained with the Herschel Walker deal and all the things that go into it.
I might argue, at least where they were at the time, the Cleveland one might be the worst.
In my mind, it's the worst. It's by far the worst.
They had just recently won a playoff game. They won a year. Baker got hurt. Had they kept Baker,
you gave up
3 firsts,
an already existing quarterback who was playing decent ball and young, so there was still possible improvement coming. You gave up salary cap implications in room. You gave up draft picks. You literally did the 3 things that all NFL franchises try to avoid on a yearly basis. You did all in one fell swoop. It's crazy. And then to top it all off, you signed the dude to the largest guarantee contract in NFL history.
Well, so there's 2 more things with that, Caleb. 1, the sexual allegations had already come out. And then 2, he had already told you he don't want to come play for you. And then you go, wait, hold on. What if we give you all the money guaranteed? What do you think about that? Yeah, I'll come play for you then. I love Cleveland.
And honestly, and Pinky can vouch for this, there may not have been a bigger Deshaun Watson supporter at that time than I myself right here.
He led the league in passing in 2020.
Yeah. And even
whatever it was.
And I wanted the Broncos to trade for him before all the sexual allegations came out. Once those came out, and I knew he was going to sit even more, I looked at Pinky and said, I'm off the bandwagon. I'm done. I'm out. Because I knew what was coming. I knew all the implications that were going with that. And somehow me, sitting on my couch with no inside information, no NFL job, could see that, and the Browns couldn't. I said they should have kept Baker. And I've gone on to, now eating crow tonight, but gone on to say Baker isn't worth anything. Like, the amount of mistakes that this organization has made and continues to make is mind-boggling, dude. And what's really scary and crazy, and I've said this before, and Pinky didn't like it, but he had a hard time disagreeing with it, the Broncos are looking very similar. And if you don't do something and right that ship, you see what happens. And when that becomes known as what your franchise is, it becomes damn near impossible to change that.
The one solace I have as a Broncos fan is I do think this ownership group is in it for the long haul. I think they are a good group, and I think they are going to do what needs to be done to make this a winning franchise again. I don't know what the timeline is going to be on that.
We both agree on that.
But do think
the similarities, even you can't disagree that the similarities over the last 20-ish years or so, outside Peyton Manning for 4 years,
right,
are way too similar.
Right. All right. Let's see. What other turds do we have on this list here?
That was way too long on that turd game.
That was a really long time on that turd. Panthers, Raiders.
Just no. Raiders should win. Move along.
Not?
Raiders are my lock of the week.
They're not mine.
They're playing the Panthers. They're my lock of the week.
Who's Tampa playing?
They're playing the Broncos.
They're playing the Broncos.
That's your lock of the week.
I could
if
see
you're
more.
Being honest with yourself, that's your lock of the week.
No, anybody playing the Panthers is the lock of the week.
Nope. Can't do that. Can't do that. The Panthers are bad. And And I said last week, you would have a pretty solid strategy if you were in a pick'em league and you just basically picked whoever the Panthers were playing every week. But I am in a pick'em league. And when I saw the schedule, I instantly went to the Panthers and I almost locked it in. And then literally the line right below it was Broncos, Tampa. And I was like, oh, that's
See,
it.
I want to keep Tampa for another week. So
That's fair. If you want to do that, that's fair.
I don't know how
I
many
don't hate
games
that.
this season I'll pick the
Damn,
Raiders.
now you say that I might have to change my pick.
Better get her done.
I might have to change it now because
you're going to want to pick Tampa. You'll pick Tampa against the Panthers. Like, whoever the Panthers are playing this year.
Yeah. Now I'm going to have to think about that a little more for the pick'em. But the lock of the week is Tampa over the Broncos. That is the lock of the week.
I would no, it's the Raiders versus the Panthers, but that could be a close second. I will absolutely agree there. Bucks are winning that game.
Broncos going 0-4.
Yes. Well, if the Jets
me.
If the Jets don't
They're
get better
going
on I mean, if
they're going 0-4.
the Jets can do some weird stuff, man. Like, it's possible the Jets could lose, but they shouldn't.
Yes, Caleb, I'm with you. They're going 0-4. We're just gonna
Pinky. Stop,
just
my
Caleb,
guy.
Just don't, Caleb. Just don't.
Stop.
I just said they shouldn't lose.
Just we'll move on.
You can't tell me the Jets in the past haven't done some weird things.
Hey, so who's not excited for Monday Night Football?
When Robert said that, it should have been like, yeah, they're going to be 0-4.
Hold on, we're not going to Monday Night Football yet, Robert. We're not there yet.
What other duds are there, Pinky? Because we know the Bills are going to smoke the Jaguars. So, like, what else are you going to give me here?
I mean, I guess you want to talk about that. Both of those are duds. The Bills should win. The Bengals should win.
Give me any other game that matters then, because no, any other game should be.
So the other turd is 49ers Rams. 49ers are going to crush.
Well, yeah, because the Rams are basically incapacitated.
Seahawks are going to crush.
Who are the Seahawks playing?
Dolphins.
Are you ready to say they're going to be better than you anticipated yet, or are you still waiting to see?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to him?
Pinky.
They've still played two bad teams at this point.
Gino looked pretty good. That offense is rolling. Defense
they barely beat the Patriots, man.
I think we drastically underestimated the Patriots. I think we did.
No.
As much as I hate saying that, I think we drastically underestimated the Patriots.
That's a terrible idea.
We were at 0-16, and I think they're going to be closer to 6 or 7.
The Bengals should have won that game.
I don't want to hear shoulda, coulda, woulda. Did they or not?
All right, here. This is the last. Well, there's. Okay, some of these games have turd teams, but they're interesting. Bears Colts.
Yeah, that's an interesting game for a lot of reasons.
I would pick the Colts over the Bears right now.
I wouldn't, only because that Bears defense is legit, I think.
The Colts look...
It should be legit. They put how many draft picks and free agency?
I mean, Robert, the Colts just lost to the Packers with Malik Willis, who threw the ball 14 times. I mean, they ran the ball 55 times.
The Colts defense... And this sucks. I don't think it's going to be as good as I thought it was. And they're still going to have weeks where Anthony Richardson has growing pains. I mean, looked really good week 1. Week 2, he looked like there were some issues there. And that's going to be the whole season for the Colts. So it would be hard-pressed for me to say that they would win that game.
All right, Packers-Titans.
Packers. Big time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Titans defense. It's in
Matt LaFleur is going to rub Malik Willis in the Titans' face with Will Levis. Mark my words. That's what's going to happen.
I don't know. I wouldn't touch that game at all. All right. So now we really get into some interesting games. We've got the Chargers-Steelers, both 2-0. Chargers are stayed on the East Coast. They're in West Virginia. Or not? No, they're not in West Virginia. I'm sorry. They're staying somewhere else. Broncos are staying in West Virginia. After the Bucs game. You got your hand up. You're frozen now, Caleb.
No, he's not frozen. He's just being a goof. What do you have your hand up for? Share with
it's not up. It's a number. Does everybody see what number that is? Can everybody?
5?
Yeah, 5.
5 what?
Chargers
I
have
know
a
where
top
he's going.
5 running back.
Yeah, maybe. They probably have the better O line of any team out there right now. So
Well, they're smart. I mean, Jim Harbaugh is brilliant and did exactly what Pinky and I both say should be what every team starts with, and that's what Jim Harbaugh did. And then he went and got a running back who, I'll never deny it, and I'll never back away from it, has some serious injury concerns. But if healthy, is one of the premier running backs in the league.
with as many players that are hurt right now for fantasy teams, I think you should just keep your mouth shut and leave it be, because your curse is real.
It is.
When you get high on somebody, your curse is real, and you know it.
Shut up, Caleb.
It is. That's fair point, my man. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
At the end of the season, if he plays all 17, you're probably right. But until
would that
then,
break my curse, Pinky? Would that finally break my curse?
Possible, but it's a long year, man.
Oh man. Okay. All right, fair. I'll keep my mouth shut now. Appreciate you, my guy.
And he hasn't finished one yet. So.
I appreciate you, my guy. That's a good call.
That's a really good game. I'm excited. That's the morning one, so that should be really, really good. That's a Chargers defense. Chargers defense has been playing really, really good.
Yes, they have. But
and
again, how many years have we been like, might be the most talented defense in the league, but half the defense is never on the field.
And so it's early. It's week 3.
Right. Can that defense stay on the field? But, like, let's be honest. Last note on the Chargers. Anybody who is doubting Jim Harbaugh, just start eating your crow now because it's not going to stop. The dude builds winners. It's just what he does.
He typically builds out, inside out. So let's see. They are. They're playing scary. I am going to their game when they come to Denver, and I'm pretty much predicting a loss. That's gonna be a loss.
Dude, that's if they're still rolling like they are now and J.K. Dobbins is healthy, that's like a 200-yard rush day. That could get ugly.
Eagles Saints.
Are we going through all the games? I thought we weren't doing that.
What?
We didn't go through whatever. Never mind.
You're right. We didn't last week. I kind of thought the same thing, Robert. I thought we were streamlining a little more. That's okay. We'll figure it out, guys.
But it's fine. It's fine.
Look,
Pinky, what do you want to say?
We go all over the place. This is why you watch us. Rabbit hole over here. We're gone. Don't worry about it.
There's 3 games after this one. Move it along, Robert.
And how many games did we have to talk about from last week? We probably had the same number. We didn't give a shit. So argument not valid. Anyway.
We'll figure it out.
Moving on. Okay, what's the next game we care about, Pinky, apparently?
I think the Eagles do find a way to win this game, but I think this is going to be a really good game.
The Saints, underdog, going all the way. Although, all right, never mind. No, we're not going down that rabbit hole. That's a different conversation.
When you say all the way, do you mean like Super Bowl? Like, is that what you're jumping on?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying the Saints will. I think the Saints will.
But would that be fun?
What you need to learn the definition of apparently in a game, Caleb, is dominance, and I think the Saints will dominate in this game. I don't think the Chiefs know the meaning of the word dominance. They just know how to win and get lucky, but that's not dominating. But anyway, moving on.
Saints going to the Super Bowl to play in their own stadium would be fun.
Hey, what's the bet line on that?
On what?
If the Saints go to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
a lot. Probably.
Actually, their odds went up.
The odds aren't nearly as good as they are now as they were before Week 1 started.
Well, I'm sure, but I'd be curious to know what the odds are still.
You got DraftKings? Pull it up.
Yeah, but I don't even remember last time I logged into DraftKings.
I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say they probably moved to 15-1.
Right.
All right, Pinky, I will commit to this next week. I will put $20 into DraftKings and I'll start betting again.
Texans Vikings is the next game. You guys talk about that. I'll look up the odds for you.
Texans Vikings.
So this is the Sam Darnold playing an amazing game.
What's Sam Darnold got to do against the Texans for you to start coming around on him?
I was waiting for that question. I was not going to say a word until Caleb spoke.
He did what you asked him against San Francisco. So now I need a baseline for Houston.
I'm looking something up, so you guys just talk amongst yourselves.
I think Houston's in trouble. I do. I think Houston's in trouble. I think that front seven of Minnesota is underrated, and they've been putting some really good pressure on quarterbacks. I will be interested to see if Houston can get a run game going. If Houston doesn't get their run game going, I think Minnesota wins this game. And I do think Darnold plays as well as CJ Stroud. At least as well as CJ Stroud.
Saints are plus 3,500 still, Robert.
Whew.
But I think, well, that's to win the Super Bowl. To get to the Super Bowl, they're plus 1,300.
Okay.
Vikings, Texans, anyone else?
I don't really. I personally think that the Vikings might actually come to play, and it will be
This should be a great game. I don't think the Texans
I personally think
dominant.
Again, for me, I think it'll be a game of the week.
I'm
Not
seeing
the game, but it'll be a game of the week.
I like that. I'm seeing a bunch of people with Houston in their top 5 for power rankings already.
Most of them are at 2.
Yeah.
Houston's looking pretty sharp.
And I will say,
right now,
as much as they knocked the hell out of Caleb Williams, they were still within 6 points.
dude, yeah, I'm not feeling Houston as being that dominant right now. I see them taking a step back, kind of like we originally thought still. I'm still kind of feeling them there. And not a step back in a bad way. Like, that's the thing. When you overachieve as much as they did last year, a step back makes people think like you had a bad year or things didn't go as planned. Or no, we talked about it. Their schedule is brutal.
They're playing a tough schedule.
Of all. And second of all, they've still got a really young team that is going to have to grow and learn still. This isn't a veteran team with a young quarterback. This is a young team. So there's still a lot for them to kind of develop and learn over the course of a full NFL season.
Oh, thanks, Jack. We appreciate you, buddy. Congrats on that Ravens win. Like, the Ravens know how to just give up those 10-point wins, buddy.
They also don't understand that they can run the ball, apparently, still. So that's interesting. What's the last game you got, Pinky?
I got 2.
Oh.
But Ravens-Cowboys is the next one. 0-2 Ravens, 1-1 Cowboys.
Ravens, move along.
Where's it at?
It's in Dallas.
So the Ravens will win.
It's probably the game of the week on Fox, to be honest.
So here's the deal. My head says the Ravens should destroy Dallas because they'll just run the ball down their throats all day. I'm sorry. My heart says that's what the Ravens will do. My head says the Ravens don't understand what play calling is, and they're still stuck in the playoff game from last year and don't understand that they have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and a solid offensive line, and they keep thinking they've got new pieces there that don't know how to run block, apparently, and want to see Lamar throw the ball. I don't know. So Ravens should win because Dallas can't stop the run. And the Ravens can run the ball really well if they want to, and they can throw the ball and have Lamar Jackson. I'm picking Dallas.
This might be the first time I've seen this is an 0-2 team that is favored on the road. You don't see that very often.
No, you shouldn't see that. They shouldn't be 0-2. They should be 2-0. But I'm picking Dallas. God, that's gross. That's gross for this matchup because I really like Baltimore, but I don't like what I've seen from them to start the year. I don't trust that they're going to use their advantages, and Dallas is not a bad team. So I'm going to take Dallas at home. Ugh.
So we talked about do I want to take I think Cowboys will have a bounce back. I think they, after getting their asses kicked, I think they'll have a bounce back. The Cowboys game, the Texans Vikings, the Eagles Saints are all, and the Steelers Chargers are all like really interesting games. The game of the week for me is Lions Cardinals.
I don't hate that choice. Cardinals are playing good ball. We said they would. We said they'd be competitive, but they're playing even a little better. Kyler Murray, did I see a stat? Am I correct that he's the only quarterback that hasn't thrown an interception yet?
He might be. I don't think he has. Yeah.
I mean, he's playing good ball. Marvin Harrison all of a sudden got the ball this week. James Conner, we told you if he's on the field and healthy, he can run really well. That offensive line is not bad. We said the defense was going to be good based on what we saw towards the end of the last year and who their head coach is. Cardinals are looking good. And the Lions look like they're good, but still are trying to figure out how to be dominant, how to be at the upper echelon, how to be the best team in the NFC. And it's like it's almost like the Lions are trying too many cute things to be the best, that they're leaving open possibility for other teams to win. And the Cardinals are just going to play really solid ball, which will allow them to be in the game.
The first 2 weeks, Jared Goff has thrown the ball too much.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I get it. You got some weapons. You found Jamison Williams. He's healthy. He's looking great.
But you're throwing it that much, and Laporta isn't touching the ball. Like, there's some weird things that if you continue down that path, it's going to lead to bad results, right? You would think.
Right.
So this seems like a week the Lions are going to run the ball.
There's no way that the Aiden Hutchinson should get 5 sacks and you lose a game.
No.
And they did, right? So, but this to me, like, Kyler's playing good football. His jersey just went to the Hall of Fame. He's the first player to have 250 and 50 yards rushing in the same game and a perfect passer rating. So they sent his jersey to the Hall of Fame, which is really cool. There's a section as you get to the end. There's a section of the Hall of Fame that's got a lot of newer stuff, and it'll normally have like players that are playing right now and some of the like really cool stats and stuff they've done. So it's cool that his jersey will.
I can't wait to get that trip with you, but I'm glad you've been out there and got
2 years
stuff. So
so not 2025, but 2026, we're going to go to a Browns game.
That's good. I won't be joining that because I'm going to the World Cup that year. So.
Oh, shit. You're right.
The World Cup's during the summer, man. The game's not till like December.
I don't have just unlimited passes yet, buddy. I got babies, not young children.
I don't have that yet, but I might have other things going on at that time. Who knows?
So we'll see. We'll see how things go. I got my World Cup pass. That's golden. I'm set. Just have to figure things out. Anything above and beyond that might be asking a lot, considering the World Cup isn't just a 2-3 day trip. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I eventually will get out there at some point with you, and I'll be at drafts with you at some. But I'll get there. Even if we're 70 and people are pushing us in wheelchairs, I will get there.
So once Von Miller retires, I do plan to make the trip when he gets inducted, because he's been my guy since he was drafted. So.
Yeah, but we're talking, even if he retires after this year, I still got 5. So we're okay.
Right.
The
so
timeline still fits in.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're still good there. We should be okay there. Yeah.
What I'm saying is I'm going again.
I got you.
This just happens to be I want to take Junior to a game in Brown Stadium because we got to be in Brown Stadium. I got him on the field. He got to kick a field goal. So we've experienced some of that. But I want to take him to a game in the Browns. Now, when he's 21, I can take him to the bar. We can have a good time.
Did Junior toe it? Did he toe it, or did he proper kick it?
He got it through, but it didn't look.
Well, great, if you make it doesn't really matter. I'm just curious. Robert knows what I'm talking about.
it was. I think it was like a 25-yarder, so he got it.
Yeah, but did he toe kick it, or did he proper kick it?
I wasn't down there looking at him. I was taking pictures, so.
Fair. Final thoughts, gentlemen. Pinky?
Man. I don't know, man. I don't know. Broncos suck. They're going to lose again. Buckle up. And again, it's okay, Broncos country.
It is. Okay. It is okay. It is
Well,
okay. The sooner you accept
Rome
it, it's
wasn't
okay,
built in a
the
day.
sooner you won't be miserable all season.
Right?
6 wins
it's
ain't
just
happening,
okay.
guys.
At this point, the first win's not coming until we play the Panthers. So.
Robert, final thoughts, good sir.
I got 2. Number 1, just nonsense since we didn't really cover it. We talked about it a little bit. Shogun with, I believe it was 18 wins. Absolutely incredible. Every bit of deserving.
Did you finish that, Caleb? Okay, you finished it.
Great series. Actually getting the itch to watch it again, just because I'm again getting all the promos, and I'm just like, oh, this is a great series.
I really liked the white guy. I liked his character.
That's fair.
I thought he did a really good job.
Favorite part of the whole series, where the Portuguese priests realized the plot of land they had been given for their church was going right next to the whorehouse.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
Yo, and that's coming from a Catholic, ladies and gentlemen. So don't think I'm trying to like bash on Catholics. That's
hilarious.
That's coming from in-house, okay?
Yep, that's hilarious. So there's that. So just we'll cover that real quick. But then secondly, saving this to the end because the other win I do have to relish in is the North London Derby was this weekend between Arsenal and Tottenham. Arsenal still reigns supreme. Love that. One of the, not the biggest, but one of the biggest rivalries in the Premier League. 195 matchups. Absolutely great. So love that. Love to see Arsenal still being dominant in that case. Hopefully that they will continue that theme through the series of this next season and actually come out with a cup win, but we'll see.
Arsenal's cronky, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. Let me double check.
It's Liverpool or Arsenal, and I don't know why I don't have this down yet. I feel like it's Arsenal.
Yes, through Cronky Sports Entertainment. Yeah. Is what you're talking. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. 2007.
Yeah. Cool. Word. Good for Arsenal. I mean, the Premier League's been kind of crazy over the last decade or so. You've seen major players have serious struggles trying to regain that form in Chelsea and Man United. And then, Liverpool has kind of been up and down. Arsenal's been pretty steady.
Yep.
Man City kind of being trash and then good. And Premier League's kind of seen an upheaval over the last decade or so, and it's been pretty wild to watch. So if you like soccer or want to get into soccer, now's a good time to kind of get into the Premier League, especially with the season. When's the season kick, Robert?
It's already been going, man. We've been playing. We're going. We just had an international break for a couple of things. So that was cool.
When did the Premier season start? I thought it
started like 3 weeks ago.
No, yeah, okay. So my time the beginning of September. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Champions League's going on right now. Had my hopes and dreams crushed this afternoon, but it's great to see Stuttgart play on a bigger stage with Real Madrid. For the longest time, they held it until I think it was the 76th minute, if I'm not mistaken. But hey, that's what soccer's about. So looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. But
where Pinky go.
I was just saying, I'm just reading this article that Robert sent me, and nowhere in here does it say anything about it voiding his taking away the contract.
Yeah, you'll have to go look at a different article then.
This just talks about the. I know, but this just talks about the restructure would be pretty devastating. Because if they were to cut him right now, it's $72.9 million next year and $72.9 million in 2026.
Do a little bit of research and you'll find it.
Those are pretty heavy cap hits.
Final thought. I know we don't talk about baseball a lot, and we will start more here soon. But Shohei Ohtani is now at 48 and 40. Oh wait, Pinky already said that. Honestly, look. I hate doing this to myself, but I can't help it. It's just me as a sports fan and growing up in Nebraska as a Nebraska fan, the last couple of years have been pretty easy to be like, look, I'm not expecting anything. I'm going to have some hope, but when the season starts, I know what the truth is. I have been able to, over the last 10 years or so, not let my weekends be affected by Nebraska wins and losses. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do that this year because I am expecting big things as much as I don't want to say I am. And I am very excited for Friday night to see if Nebraska really is back, because I do believe this game against Illinois will say a lot about where Nebraska truly is in their trajectory for the year. So I'm excited for Friday. Wait and see what happens. It will not ruin my weekend. I got a lot of fun plans and still got NFL and fantasy and all the good stuff. So, but my Huskers are looking good, and I'm excited to see where they go. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, do not, I repeat, do not take those moments with your inner circle, family, friends, loved ones, whatever you consider that to be, for granted. Cherish those moments. Take advantage of those moments. Jump on those opportunities when you have them. We appreciate everyone and anyone that listens to us, follows us, chats with us, supports us in any way. It means the world to us. We cannot express that enough, and I know that's super cliche. We don't care. We truly mean it. Until next week, or if you want to hit us up on one of the social media platforms, appreciate all you guys. We're out.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the